Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I hope you guys are doing pretty good. This is the day 4 of our 90 days SDET interview preparation series here on YouTube. My name is Jatin, and if we are meeting for the very first time, I help QA professionals just like you transition from manual to automation testing. Now, by chance, you are seeing this particular video for the very first time. I will say stop, please don't watch this thing. You should be checking the day 0 video, complete the older videos first, and then come back and watch this particular video. For your convenience, what I have done is I have created a complete 90 days SDET interview prep playlist, which you're going to find a link in the description section. If it is not available in the description section, all you need to do is go to the home of or the dashboard or the account page of this Tech with Jatin account, and over there you are going to find the playlist over there. That's the first thing over there. Now, the thing over here, guys, a lot of you guys were asking where exactly the notes are. The notes are kept in the members community post section. So if you guys are interested in getting the notes, I would highly recommend that you join the YouTube Tech with Jatin membership. Go to the community post. You're going to find the notes kept over there. One more thing which is very important is that please don't share this particular notes with anyone. And when you guys are studying up, don't just read it from the screen. Take a printout of this particular note, file it up, and please make sure that on daily basis, you go through these notes. I promise you that if you do it couple of times, let's say 5, 6, 7 times, you will be really confident in your next interviews. The way this entire series has been created is that we will focus on refreshing our concepts, and we will see where exactly the technical concepts have been used in our framework. So for today, we are going to discuss about abstract classes and interface. So we will just refresh on these two concepts, and then we will see where we have used it in our framework. All right. Now, there are some protocols. The first thing over here is I don't want you guys to have your phone next to you. So please make sure that if you are watching this particular video on a mobile phone or something, don't do that. Okay, come back tomorrow morning fresh, study with me on your laptop and all, and that's going to be far more better compared to just watching on your mobile phone. It's better you go to sleep and take some rest. Now, the next thing over here, guys, if you are really ready to study now, have your tea, coffee ready, have your notebook and pen ready, because you guys have to start making your own notes also. Whatever I'll be writing, I want you guys to jot it down, okay, in your notebook. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. So, without wasting time, let's get started with our day 4, which is on abstract classes and interface. Tell me something. Suppose I'm taking your interview, and if I ask you the question, what is an abstract class? What are you going to say? Yes, take a moment, think about it. Okay, we have all the time in this entire world. Okay, what would you say? Okay, what is an abstract class? So if I'm trying to read your mind, okay, properly, most of us would have said that, Jatin, abstract classes are classes which are going to have abstract method inside them. Right? Perfect. Now, there are few more caveat to this particular thing, so we will discuss that also. Over here, you guys are right. That's completely right. Abstract classes are classes which are technically incomplete classes, and the class becomes an incomplete class when it is going to have an abstract method. What is an abstract method? A method which does not have a body. We mark that particular method as an abstract method. The moment the method becomes an abstract, the class is also going to be abstract. Now, there are a few things that you should be aware about abstract classes. When we are talking about abstract classes is a class that is technically an incomplete class by design. Okay? It's going to be an incomplete class. Now, what do you mean by a complete class and an incomplete class? Now, when we are talking about a class, A class is going to have two things. What are the two things? It is going to be variables and it is going to have methods. Now, when we are talking about the variables, we generally call them as class variables. It can be instance variable, but let's focus on instance variable for now. So we are going to have instance variable and instance methods popping up. Now, instance variable are created inside which memory? We have already seen it in the previous classes now. What are instance variable? Variables which are created inside the class and is going to be non-static. We call them as instance variable. Instance variable are created in your heap memory. So instance variable are always going to be created in heap memory, and any variable which is created in the heap memory, they are always initialized with the default value. Please make a note of this particular point. This is very important, that variables created in the heap memory, will always be initialized with a default value. I hope this particular part is clear to everyone. Now, when we are talking about initialization, is there a special method which deals with the initialization of instance variable? Constructors. The job of the constructors are technically to initialize the instance variable. I hope you remember all these things. We have seen it in the previous lecture. Now, when you're talking about methods, now, a method is always going to have this method code block. These curly brackets which you see, we generally call them as code block. Perfect. Now, if you don't know what should I write in this code block, then we technically remove the code block and we attach the abstract keyword. Pretty sure you guys are aware of this thing also. If a method does not have a body, then we say that that particular method is going to become an abstract method. The moment that method becomes abstract, the class is also going to become an abstract class. Okay. So read over here. An abstract class in Java is a class that is incomplete by design and is meant to be extended, not instantiated. This is a very important line, guys, that abstract classes are meant to be extended, not instantiated. What do you mean by this line? We are trying to say over here that abstract classes are designed to be a parent class. Abstract classes are designed to be parent classes. Okay. The key points over here to remember about abstract classes is that an abstract class may or may not contain abstract method. Now this changes the definition completely for everyone, because here's this thing. Whenever we learn a particular topic, we generally try to go with the theoretical definition. But there are special use cases where you will mark a particular class as an abstract class, and in that class, there's not going to be any abstract methods. Okay. Where it is going to be, I'm going to show you that example also. Don't worry on that part. But this is something that you should remember, that abstract classes may or may not contain abstract method. If a class is going to have at least one abstract method, then you must mark it with abstract keyword. You cannot create an object of an abstract class with the help of new keyword. The moment a class is marked as abstract, what is happening is we are taking away the power of creating the object of that class. Please make a note of this particular point. That the moment you mark a particular class as abstract, you cannot create the object of that particular class. So we are taking away that particular power of creating the object. Okay. Now, abstract classes can have constructors, instance variable, concrete as well as what do you say, implemented methods, complete methods, as well as it can have abstract methods. Okay, I want you guys to read these couple of points one more time quickly. Now, most of you guys will be thinking that Jatin, all these things we know. But the main thing that we always get stuck is why in the whole world I will make a method as abstract. So that is something that we will try to understand. So let's go to Eclipse over here quickly. So I've already created this day 4 package over here, guys. Now, let's say there is this bank, it reaches out to me and I have started my own software development company. Okay. And this bank is saying that we want to create a banking system. I'm like, sure, why not? I know basic object-oriented programming. I can definitely create an account system for you. So guys, if you notice, there's this com.day4 package which is already created and kept. Now, let's say I have started my own software development company and my first client is a bank. The bank officials tells me that Jatin, we want to have a banking system. I'm like, sure, why not? I know object-oriented programming. I can definitely create a banking system. They're like, okay. But for now, our bank is very small. And the only feature that we are looking for is creating the account. I'm like, okay. So we need to create a banking system in which people can only create account. They can't deposit money, they can't withdraw money. I'm like, sure, why not? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So, how to do that part? What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to quickly create a class and I'm going to call this particular class as bank class. Okay. Now, let's say the bank name is HDFC. Bank name is HDFC. I'm staying in India right now. So, in India, the bank name is still HDFC. If I go to abroad, the bank name is changing. No, even in abroad, HDFC bank still means it's a one singular bank. Okay, there's no different name popping up. So the bank name, guys, is HDFC. Yeah, HDFC bank is basically a constant. The name of this particular bank is going to be constant. So I want to store the bank name inside a variable. How can I do it? I can simply say private string bank name, and this is going to be HDFC. Was this difficult to do? No, no. Now, as we know that the bank name is constant, constant is always going to be written in uppercase. So, this is constant for us. And when something is constant, that variable needs to be written in uppercase. All right. So, I'm going to change it to uppercase. Perfect. Next step. If something is constant in Java, how do you show constant? There's a special keyword that comes into picture, final. So I'm going to say private final string bank name. But there is one more rule about final. If a variable becomes final, 100% it is going to be static. So final variables eventually becomes a class variable. You are going to mark it with static keyword. Vice versa is not true. If a variable is static, it may or may not be final. Okay. So I have this bank name now stored in this constant, okay, static final variable. The next thing, they wanted us to have the functionality of creating the account. I'm like, sure, let's do that. So over here, I'm going to say public void create account. And in order to create an account, customer is going to definitely give us some document, right? Your Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, electricity bill, social security number, whatever it is. So these official documents needs to be given. So I'm going to say string document. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to print a message creating the account with the document, whatever the document is. And then I'm going to print a message account created successfully. Done and dusted. So I am supposed to give a demo to the bank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly create a runner class. Runner classes are basically classes which are going to have main method inside it. That's it. Now over here, let's say I visit this particular bank to create account. I'm going to say bank. Okay, let's call this HDFC bank. Okay, is equal to new bank. So this object of new bank is for Jatin. And I'm just going to say in the HDFC bank, I want to create account. And I'm going to create the account with the help of passport. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to click on the play button. And you will see I'm getting the message, creating the account with the document passport, account created successfully. Now let's say another customer visits the HDFC bank. Let's say this particular customer is Katrina. And let's say this is the second reference, HDFC Bank 2. So she decides to create the account with the help of electricity bill, EB. So I'm going to click on the play button and you will notice that it works. Good. Okay, the system is working. How exactly the bank was expecting. I created it. I gave it to them. They are happy. Couple of days later, they come back to me and they say that, Jatin, there's a change that is required. I'm like, what is the change? The change is that people are providing any kind of document, but we are only supposed to create the account with the help of electricity bill as well as passport. No other document is allowed. Either you can create the account with the help of electricity bill or you can create the account with the help of passport. I'm like, okay, not a big thing. What we need to do? We need to introduce a validation. We need to check whether this document value is either going to be electricity bill or it is going to be passport. Anything else, you are supposed to give an error message. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say public void validate document. You give me the document and then I'm going to check if document dot equals ignore case. If it is passport or this whole thing, this document is electricity bill, EB, then I will return true. Else, I'm going to print a message. Invalid document type. Okay. And I'm going to return false. Perfect. So because we are returning true or false, the return type of this particular method is going to be Boolean. Make sense? Now, when create account method is going to be called, the first thing that will happen is we will check the document. So I'm going to validate the document. Whatever the document you're giving, I'm going to validate it off. And if it is true, only then these messages will be printed. So I'm going to save this chap. And let me just remove this B, Control Shift F, zoom out if you want to really see. This is the whole code. If I go back to the runner, now if I right click run as Java application, it is working. But let's say that Katrina decides to create the account with the help of driving license. All right. If I'm going to click on the play button, you will see invalid document type. So for me, the account is getting created, but for Katrina, we are getting the message invalid document type. So this system is also working properly. So this is what object-oriented programming is. When you use object-oriented programming, you get a lot of benefit in terms of maintenance of the code. Real world is a complex world. Okay. And on regular basis, something or the other will always keep on changing. And our system needs to adapt to those changes. If I was using modular programming, only functional codes and all, the problem that would happen is I wouldn't be able to scale it off. Now I have created and I've broken the functionalities into different methods of the same class. So that's the reason anytime there is a new requirement, I'm able to just modify the bank class and it's working the way we want to do. Now, where is abstract class? Understand this part. Couple of days later, again, the bank comes and say that, Jatin, the system is growing, at a very fast pace. Okay, we have so many accounts and we have decided to start branches. And notice, you never visit a bank, you always visit the branch office. Are you getting the point? There will be a branch close to your place. Then after 2-3 kilometers, there will be another branch, so on and so forth. So accounts are always created in specific branches. Now, this bank says that, Jatin, you are supposed to create the account in 2 different cities. So we will be creating 2 different branches, Mumbai branch and Delhi branch. Mumbai branch and Delhi branch. Mumbai branch and Delhi branch needs to behave as a bank. So whatever the functionalities which are there, that is of creating the account and validating the document, these functionalities, all right, should be accessible in your Mumbai branch as well as in Delhi branch. Most of you know what we are going to do. What we will be doing? We will be introducing inheritance. So I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to quickly create the class called Mumbai branch. Mumbai branch is going to extends bank. Done. Nothing else is going to change. Mumbai branch is extending your bank class. So over here, let's say there is someone who is going to visit Mumbai branch, they can create the account. Observe, I can say Mumbai branch MB equal to new Mumbai branch. Let's say this person is Raj and I'm going to say MB in Mumbai branch. I'm supposed to create the account with the help of electricity bill. Okay. So if I'm going to click on the play button, account created using electricity bill. Over here, invalid document type. This is for Katrina. Now, the same we can do for Delhi branch also. I can just copy paste Mumbai branch into a different class. Now I'm going to call this as Delhi branch. And Delhi branch extends bank. So if I go back to the runner, I can say someone from Delhi, they visit the Delhi branch, DB equal to new Delhi branch. Let's say that person is Vijay. All right. And we're going to say DB dot create account with Aadhaar card, something like that. Now, this person, Vijay, when he visits the Delhi branch, he's trying to create the account with the help of Aadhaar card. Should the account be created? The answer is no. So if I'm going to click on the play button, invalid document type. So only for electricity bill and passport, the account is getting created. And notice how quickly we were able to introduce these two changes, Mumbai branch and Delhi branch. So there is a benefit that we get when you are having inheritance. First benefit is single responsibility. See, all the things, the common operation of creating the account as well as validating the document, it is present in the parent class. It is available in the parent class. Child classes really don't need to do anything special. The code duplicacy is less. The code duplicacy is less. And wherever you are going to have less code duplicacy, maintenance always reduces. If you are writing the code, it requires maintenance. Are you getting the point? So, with the help of inheritance, you always achieve technically achieve single responsibility. Okay. The second thing that comes into picture is code duplicacy is less. And if the code duplicacy is less, your maintenance of your code is also reduced. Are you getting the point? Now, most of you guys will be thinking, but what it has to do with your abstract classes? Understand this part. The story takes another turn. After some time, the bank reaches out to me and they say that Jatin, government has issued a new rule. I'm like, what's this new rule now? People in Mumbai branch needs to create account only and only with electricity bill. In Mumbai branch, if you are creating the account can only be created with electricity bill. People who are in Delhi, they can create the account only and only with the help of passport. I'm like, okay. So what we are supposed to do? If I go to the bank class and I decide to make changes over here, it's not going to work. Because right now document.equal ignore case, we have password and EB. Both of these conditions are available over here. Okay, this entire line, okay, this entire method is technically accessible by Mumbai and Delhi. So any changes which I'm going to make in the bank class, it's definitely going to affect Delhi and Mumbai. But what we want that these two classes, Delhi and Mumbai, they need to behave differently while creating the account. So I cannot write the code for validation in my bank class. I cannot write the code of validating document in the bank class because Mumbai branch and Delhi branches, they are validating the documents differently. So what I'm supposed to do? The first thing, I have to remove this entire piece of code. Perfect. Now I don't have a method body. So I'm going to put a semicolon over here. Because you don't have a method body and you still want to have this validate document, you are supposed to mark this particular method as abstract. Okay. The moment this particular method became abstract, you're going to make the class as abstract. And observe carefully, now all the three classes, runner, Mumbai and Delhi branch. If I go to the runner class, you will never be able to create the account with the help of bank object. And notice some time back I just said, you never create an account in a bank, you visit the branch. So this makes much more sense that you're visiting Mumbai branch and you're visiting Delhi branch and you're creating account over there. Are you getting the point? Now, the moment the class becomes abstract, abstract is always going to force method overriding. Abstract keyword forces method overriding. You see, I'm getting these errors in Mumbai and Delhi, meaning I'm supposed to add the unimplemented method. the validate document over here, you will see I'm seeing this override keyword. So this is because this method is abstract. Please make a note of this particular point, that abstract keyword forces method overriding. Abstract keyword forces method overriding. Now over here guys, let's just add the unimplemented method. I am supposed to write the logic of validate document. And it's simple. Over here, I'm going to say if validate document is not validate document, if document dot equals ignore case, if this is going to be electricity bill, I'm going to return true. Else, we are going to print a message. Cannot create account using something else I could write over here. I can simply say account can only be created with electricity bill. And then I'm going to return false. The same thing, I'm just going to copy this chap. And here I'm going to paste it. This is going to be for passport. So we will update here also and here also. So what we have done? Because we were not able to write the code of validate document in the parent class, we made that particular method as abstract method. The moment I made this particular method as abstract method, the class became abstract. And if a method is going to be abstract, it is going to force method overriding. What is method overriding? The child class and the parent class, they both have same method. So in your Mumbai branch, you have validate document. In your bank class, you have validate document. Are you getting the point? So if I go back to the runner, now if I just right click, run as Java application, account created with the document EB, in Mumbai it's working for electricity bill. Delhi branch, account cannot be created, account can only be created for passport. So if I go to create account method, if I just click over here, it's going to take me to this chart. Okay. And here is your validate document. If I'm going to press the control button and I go to validate document, which method is going to be called? It is telling me that, hey, I'm going to call this particular method. But it is not. It is not calling this particular method. It is calling the method from the child class. So what is method overriding? In method overriding, the child class method overrides the parent class methods during execution. So over here, this is runtime polymorphism. Over here, your Eclipse is telling me that Baba, during the execution, validate document is going to be called. There is nothing over here. But this is abstract method, na? Everything will be decided whose object is created. Whose object is created? Delhi branch object. So in Delhi branch, there is a validate document. So over here, when the program is going to be executed, the validate document is going to be called of Delhi branch class and not of the bank class. Is this part making sense to everyone? Perfect. So this is how, and this is why we need to have abstract methods. Sometimes we are not able to write the logic in the parent class because the child classes are going to behave differently. Your Mumbai branch and Delhi branch, they are behaving differently in terms of validation. Validation cannot be controlled by bank. Each branch is doing validations differently. So if they are behaving differently, these methods needs to be implemented in the child classes. But I have created a kind of a rule now that, hey, this public abstract method needs to be there. So if there is going to be a bank, okay, that is a branch is going to extend a bank class, all those branch needs to have this validate document methods implemented. If I remove this particular method, you see Java is telling me that you need to add the unimplemented method. What if I don't want to add the unimplemented method? If you don't want to add the unimplemented method, you need to make the class as abstract. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. Let's take a break of 5 minutes. Then we're going to go back to the document and we'll move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question, guys. And the next question is, can you have an abstract class which does not have any abstract method? Can abstract class exist without abstract method? And the answer is yes. You can have classes which are abstract classes, and these abstract classes are going to have zero abstract method. When you'll ask, Jatin, where you're going to use it? We generally use it at places where we are going to have parent classes. We want to consume the methods of the parent classes in the child classes, meaning we want to enforce inheritance also. But I also want to create a condition that no one is creating the object of those parent classes. So read over here. Yes, you can have classes which are abstract classes that don't have abstract methods. When you mark a class as an abstract, you are restricting object creation. Why would you do this? Obviously, to prevent object creation of the parent classes. To create a base template, we want that the test base class, the browser utility class, okay, as the template that is going to be consumed by the child classes. And if you want to enforce inheritance based scope, that time also you will be using your abstract classes, which is going to have no abstract methods. And this is something which we do commonly in automation framework. Let me show you from the assignment itself. Over here, I have this framework which I have created for SDET Foundation Masterclass. Over here, if I go to this com.utility package, you will see browser utility popping up. Okay. Now, you will notice that browser utility is an abstract class, right? So, in this particular class, I have zero abstract methods. If I do Control O just to show you the structure of this particular class, you will notice that I have a static variable, I have instance variable which are private, I have a get driver method, I have couple of constructors, meaning constructor overloading is happening, and I have all these various methods, but none of these methods are abstract methods. How do I know that? You will not find a small a written anywhere. You see that after browser utility over here, there is a small capital A written, right, in small case, not small case, in small font. You will not find it anywhere next to a method, meaning all these are concrete methods. But the reason I have marked this particular class as an abstract class is to ensure that people who will be using my framework, they don't create the object of browser utility. Browser utility is basically a wrapper over Selenium WebDriver. So here you will always find Selenium WebDriver code popping up. Are you getting the point? Now, if I go to the page classes, now over here, let's pick up homepage. Homepage class is going to extend browser utility. And your homepage class is consuming the methods of your browser utility. So you have your go to website, you have your click on, okay. So these methods are basically coming from browser utility, which internally calls your Selenium WebDriver code. Are you getting the point? So just to ensure that, people don't create unnecessary objects here and there of different classes, and to make sure that people understand whose object needs to be created and whose object should not be created, I am putting the abstract keyword next to browser utility. Is this part clear? Now, Going back to this particular document, the next question is, what is an interface? Everyone knows what is an interface. Okay. If I have to ask you what you are going to say about interfaces, most of the time people say that interfaces, variables are public, static, final, and methods are abstract. But my dear friends, time has changed. A lot of things have changed in interfaces also. Can interfaces have concrete method? Yes. These concrete methods are default methods. Can interface have private methods? Yes. Can it have static method? Yes. So this is something that you should definitely talk in your interviews. You're supposed to say all these things. So read over here, what exactly is an interface? An interface, guys, is 100% contract based structure. Abstract classes are your inheritance based. It is going to have that child parent relationship, but your interface is going to be contract based. And with the help of interfaces, you are implementing multiple inheritance in Java. We know that multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. What is multiple inheritance? A class is going to get the properties from multiple parent entities, right? But Java does not support it directly. Java supports single parent at a particular time, meaning a class can extend another class. But a child class cannot extend multiple classes. A class can extend one parent class and it can implement multiple interfaces. And using interfaces, you are achieving multiple inheritance. But the main thing over here to remember is that after Java 8 or from Java 8 onwards, you can have concrete methods, you can have private methods, you can have static methods inside your interfaces. So please read this particular stuff. Now, an interface is 100% contract based structure. An interface is 100% contract based structure that forces method overriding and defines what a class must do and not how. Because before Java 8, all the methods of interfaces were abstract, right? But after Java 8, you can also have concrete method. So that's the reason this definition is before Java 8 definition. The key properties that you should remember about interfaces is that methods are basically public and abstract by default. Methods are what? Public and abstract before Java 8. Variables are public, static, final, meaning they are constant. No object creation and no constructor. Now you need to understand something. See, what is the job of the constructor? To initialize instance variable, right? The job of the constructor is to initialize instance variable. When you look at the variables of interfaces, they are public, static, final. They are public, static, final, meaning they are constant. So, if the variables are static, should there be a constructor to initialize them? No. No. The job of the constructor is to initialize instance variables. Static variables are not instance variable. So if, like in interview, they ask why an interface cannot have a constructor, this is the answer that you're supposed to say. Because the variables are static, it does not make sense to have a constructor. And of course, you can't have a constructor for an interface because object creation is not allowed. It is a contract and it does not focuses on implementation. Since Java 8 onwards, interfaces have gone through major changes. You can have default method, meaning the basic implementation is going to be there. You can have static methods, which is also going to have its implementation. And from Java 9 onwards, you can have private methods inside an interface. So private methods from Java 9 onwards. Your static methods as well as your default methods from Java 8 onwards have been added. Is this part making sense? Now, If you are using your framework, like probably you're using Java 11 over there or Java 18, whatever the version, 17 you're using. So where exactly these default methods have popped up? I'll just show you. Observe carefully. If you go to listener, let's go to test listener. See, this is the iTest listener from your test engine. And over here, I have this on test start method, which is a default method. Previously, in the older version of TestNG, and when you're using probably Java 7 or something, what used to happen is if I was implementing this iTest listener, okay, if I was implementing this iTest listener, I had to add all the methods. Right now, I have not added all the methods. So I can decide which method I want to use, which method I don't want to implement. Okay. So it has a lot of methods. Out of these methods, okay, 2 methods I'm not implementing. Previously, I had to keep those methods, like as a stub over here in my test listener class. But now that TestNG is also using this on test start as a default method, okay, I can skip it. I don't need to focus on its implementation. Let this particular method be in the iTest listener interface itself. I will only focus, or my class is only going to focus on methods which has been implemented by me. Are you getting the point? That's the advantage over here. Now, if I go back to the document, this is again a very important interview question. When to use abstract class and when you're going to use an interface. Please mark this as important. This is important. When you will be using abstract class versus when you're going to use an interface. So what I've done is I have written a very detailed answer, and you need to remember all these points for your interview. When you want to share the state and behavior, state meaning the variable information, the instance variable, as well as the methods, okay, abstract classes are the best thing to go for. Abstract classes can have instance variable, that is the state, along with the method implementation that can be inherited by the subclasses. So over here, if you look at browser utility, I have the state, that is the driver, the logger, the WebDriver wait. If these things needs to be consumed by the page classes, okay, then it is better to go for your abstract classes. Make sense? And over here, you have a test-based class. When you need a foundation class that provides common setup, tear down, and utility method for all your test classes / page classes, go for abstract classes. You're going to use abstract classes. You need a common template. Okay. That time you are going to go for your abstract classes. You want to provide common reusable logic when multiple related classes shares the same implementation code that shouldn't be duplicated. You are going to go for abstract classes. Remember Mumbai branch, Delhi branch, same implementation, page classes. Every page classes technically is going to use the Selenium code. So all the Selenium code is going to be kept in the browser utility and it is going to be consumed in these respective page classes. Are you getting the point? That's the reason you're going to use your abstract class over here. The common automation examples are going to be your base test, your base page class, okay? A common template for your page classes also you can create it. That is also going to become abstract classes. So these are the places where you will be using your abstract classes. Talking about your interfaces. When will you use interfaces? When you want to define the contract, multiple unrelated classes needs same behavior. You need multiple inheritance happening. This is where you will be using your interfaces. Now, Again, the next interview question can be where you have used interfaces in your project. And then people start thinking, have I implemented my own interface and all? You don't need to do it. You just need to remember the various interfaces that has come in your project, right? It can be your eye test listener, it can be eye retry analyzer, it can be filters from rest assured, response as well as request specification from rest assured. These are all the various interfaces that are there. You need to be aware of all these points. I've jotted it down over here. You guys can literally read these things. But these are the places where interfaces have been used. Okay, your response, your response request specification, your filters in rest assured, these are all the interfaces. I test listener or I retry analyzer, these are also the interfaces from test engine. Are you getting the point? Your web driver, web element, these are again your interfaces popping up. The next question, which is very important, is what are functional interfaces? Now, this question has been asked a lot of time. So, what is an functional interface? See, a functional interface is an interface that contains exactly one abstract method. Functional interface is an interface that contains exactly one abstract method. It is also called as SAM, which is Single Abstract Method Interface. Now the thing is where you have used it. Remember a moment back I was talking about filters? Filters in rest assured is a functional interface. Let me show you over here. If I go to the main framework, this chap, so this is the framework that we create in the rest assured for the SDET masterclass, and it's pretty huge framework. The thing is, I have this component over here which is called as filters. And you will notice that sensitive data filter is implementing a filter interface. This filter interface is basically coming from rest assured. And notice what is written over here @ functional interface. So if I go to this filter interface is marked as a functional interface, meaning this interface is only going to have one method. So filter basically has a method called filter. All right. Now, a lot of time in interview, they ask the question, what is the purpose of filters in your rest assured? See, there will be a lot of places where you are going to have these confidential informations that you don't want to print in your reports, or you don't want to print it in the logs, like your password, your JWT token, your bearer token, any confidential information which you want to hide in reports or in your logs. To do that, you are supposed to use filters. So I have created this particular filter. What it is technically doing is it is just redacting informations. So if there is going to be authorization, the authorization header, it is going to make sure that its value is hidden. If there is going to be anything called token, its value is going to be hidden. That's all it is doing. So if I'm also going to have password anywhere in my logs, in my response body, if the word password, token, your authorization comes into picture, its value is always going to be hidden. Are you getting the point over here? That's what the job of filters is. Clear? Now, if in interview they ask you where you have used functional interface, remember the word filters. Okay? Now, what are functional interface? Just to reiterate, functional interfaces are basically interfaces which are going to have one abstract methods. Nothing else should be there in that particular interface. The key characteristic is that it is going to have one abstract methods. It can have multiple default methods, can have multiple static methods. It can also have multiple inherited from the object class like equals, hash code or toString. And the most important thing is this interface is always going to be marked with @functional interface annotation. So in your filter interface, you will notice that I was having this at the rate functional interface annotation popping up. Functional interfaces are basically the foundation of Lambda expressions as well as functional programming, which was introduced in Java 8. I hope this particular part is clear to everyone. Please take a moment, just read these points. This is going to be very helpful for you guys. I hope you have gone through it. Now, let's move on to some of the bonus questions over here. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. Can an interface extend another interface? Yes. An interface which extends another interface. The parent interface is called as a super interface. Sometimes in interview they ask the question, what is a super interface? When one interface extends another interface, the parent interface is called as a super interface. Where you have used it? You have used it in your Selenium WebDriver. WebDriver is an interface. WebDriver extends another interface. What is that interface? Search context. So search context becomes your super interface. Just to show you, come back over here on the screen and you will notice that where is my Selenium framework? This chap. Let's go to browser utility. Let's go to WebDriver. WebDriver is an interface. This interface extends another interface, search context. So search context becomes the parent interface or what you call as a super interface. Clear? Perfect. Next question. Can abstract class implements interface? Yes, you can do that. Abstract classes can implement interface and it doesn't need to implement all the methods. They can still remain abstract. The child class which is extending this abstract class needs to implement those methods. Perfect. What happens if a class implements two interfaces with same default method? Okay. What is going to happen if a class is implementing two interfaces and in both of these interfaces, there is a default method which has the same name. Then what is going to happen? You are technically going to get a compilation error. Remember this stuff. It has been asked. Okay. The class must override the method to resolve the conflict. This is something which is important. All these methods needs to be overwritten. Next. Marker interface versus functional interface. What is the difference between a marker interface and a functional interface? Functional interface, we know that it is going to exactly have one abstract method. You can have default methods also, but one abstract method is only going to be there. What is a marker interface? An interface which does not have anything inside it. Okay? No methods. You call it as a marker interface. Then, what is the purpose of this marker interface? Couple of moments back, I show you annotation. No? There was this annotation. So the thing is, before annotations, people used to use a marker interface to mark a particular class with some special attribute, some special label. That's why it is called as marker interface. There is one popular marker interface which is called as serializable. Now, you might have heard of this particular term, serialization, deserialization. What is serialization? Yes. A lot of time people are going to say, whenever we have a Java object and that Java object gets converted into JSON object, we call it serialization. The reverse is, when you have a JSON object and you convert it into Java object, it's called as deserialization. It's kind of true, but the original definition is, when you're going to have an object and you convert it into byte stream, so that you can store it in a .scr file, so that you can store the data somewhere in a file system, that's what you call as serialization. And the reverse, when you convert the .scr file into the Java object, you call it deserialization. Now, sometimes this thing is kind of going to be bouncing, but just accept this particular stuff as a pinch of salt. That's it. So that's it, guys. These were the questions which were from the abstract class as well as interface. Whatever the questions which have been covered over here, they are really important. Please make sure that you practice it off pretty well. If you have watched the video till here, don't forget to mark your attendance. This is going to be really, really important. I'm going to see you guys in the next class. Don't forget to mark your attendance. In case of any doubts and queries, you know where to reach out to me. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.